Kimbap is one of my favorite Korean snack slash dinner slash lunch whatever foods on the planet. So if you're unfamiliar, kimbap is a Korean snack made from dried seaweed, sesame oil laced rice, and usually has fillings of pickled and preserved vegetables and even meats. The rice is put on top of the seaweed and rolled up to create sort of like a log. And today we're gonna make one of my favorite kimbap varieties made with Spam. But if Spam spooks you out, you can just sub it out for anything else. I know it freaks some of my friends out, so think like crab stick, what did I mention, tuna, fish eggs, steak. You can get a little creative with your filling if you want. Now that the Spam gods are smiling down upon us, let's do this. I've decided to lay this video out to coincide with my actual workflow. We'll start by prepping individual ingredients, then move on to the stovetop when that's all sorted out. But first, to make good kimbap, we need good rice. Here I got me a nice medium grain white rice. If using a rice cooker, rinse the rice under the sink until the water runs clear. It should take, 4 to 5 times. It should do the trick. I've cooked rice in this exact cooker since I was a wee lad. If you have another way to make the rice, go ahead and do that too. Doesn't matter. What really matters here is that the rice is made, not how we make it. Once cleaned, cover the rice with a finger's joint worth of water and press cook. I know, it does sound a little weird, but trust me, this trick works every time. Most of the time. After 20 or 30 minutes, the rice should be finished cooking, so fluff it up a bit, then dump it into a large bowl. We're going to season the rice with some toasted sesame oil and a bit of kosher salt. Drizzle over a tablespoon or so of toasted sesame oil, then a large pinch of salt. Then, taste the rice, make sure that it tastes good, and then once it does, set that aside. Step 1 complete. Now let's take a gander at what else we need to make kimbap. As mentioned, kimbap comes in many forms, but there are a few staple ingredients that help define what it is. One of those things is this large yellow tubular thing, aka Korean pickled radish. This thing is called Danmuji. It's a pickled daikon radish that's been dyed by an ingredient like turmeric or gardenia fruit in one way or another. Oh my god. Wow. Lucky for us, this thing is super fun to cut. Square it off like so, then once you have a rectangle, slice it into thirds, then large baton-shaped pieces from there. If you buy a whole radish like I did, you'll probably only need half of this or so. Next, we're going to peel a whole carrot, then treat it similarly to our radish. Square it off, then slice medium-sized batons. Now we need to toss the carrots in a pinch of kosher salt. This is going to help us remove some of their water, concentrating the flavor, preserving them slightly, and seasoning them all at the same time. Do that, then set these aside. Now, it is time. Never mind modern medicine or the Great Wall, Spam might be humanity's greatest achievement yet. Sorry, what was that? Me too. There are tall tales told about what Spam is made from, but all it really is pork shoulder and a few preservatives. No cow lips or anything like that here. Okay, enough with the Spam worship. We're gonna flip our block O meat on its side and slice it into pieces roughly like 1/3 of an inch or so, something like this. Then slice each patty into a baton shape like so. Lots of batons today. Once batonized, move these meat fries into a bowl and set them aside. The green component of this dish is brought to you by spinach, but before we use it, we gotta blanch it. Bring some salted water up to a boil, then plunge the spinach in. It only really needs like 30 or 40 seconds in the water to soften up. So yeah, this technique is called shocking, as in my borderline radical obsession for Spam is shocking to the ignorant. Squeeze the spinach to drain off most of the water, then, if necessary, cut the ends off the spinach if they're dirty. Here I have some minced garlic. I'm going to toss in a teaspoon or so along with a dash more salt. Give that a mix with your hands, then set it aside. Now we're going to make an egg tortilla of sorts. Mix 3 eggs with a tablespoon of water or so, put that in a bowl, whisk it up until it all comes together. Bring a large pan up on medium-low heat, then add the oil and the egg mixture. Season with a bit of salt, then let the eggs do their thing. Don't touch the eggs, just let them sit. After a couple minutes, the eggs should be set, and at this point you can remove them from the heat and set them aside on the stove or something. They'll cool off and continue cooking while we work on the next steps. Now we gotta stir-fry the carrots that we just chopped up. Squeeze out as much moisture from the carrots as possible without damaging them first. Add them to a hot pan with a bit of oil oil and saute for a couple minutes. We want the carrots to be just lightly cooked, so after a couple minutes on the heat, take them off and set them aside again. Okay, time for meat tubes. Before cooking our Spam, we need to zhuzh it up. Sprinkle in a tablespoon of sugar, a tablespoon or two of toasted sesame oil, a few cracks of black pepper, a tablespoon of minced garlic, and 2 teaspoons of soy sauce. Oh yeah. Mix that around by hand and add it to a pan with a touch of oil on medium heat. Spam cooks pretty quick on its own, and the sugar speeds this up even more, so be careful not to completely burn your Spam sticks. Medium heat and some movement should do the trick. They only need a few minutes. By now, our egg should be fully cooked and cooled down, so carefully finagle it onto a flat counter and roll it up like a big chubby jelly roll thing. Then run your knife down the line like I'm doing here and unroll the egg into strips. Set those aside, and yeah, now we're ready to go. Now it's time to rock and roll, brothers. The outer layer of kimbap is made of this stuff, dried laver or seaweed paper. The same stuff used to roll sushi, well, more specifically maki, but regardless, the shiny side and a rough side, there's a difference there. Shiny side down. Yes, sir. Pop the shiny side of the seaweed down on the bamboo mat, then cover 2/3 of the seaweed with a thin coating of rice. It helps to work with wet hands when you're handling rice like this, just less stickage. From here, we line in all the ingredients that we just talked about. Start with whatever you want, add in however much you want, though I will urge you not to overstuff your kimbap, at least not until you have a couple rolls under your belt. Get a little practice in here, don't be too eager. Though this bamboo sushi mat makes rolling a lot easier, you can totally also do this by hand. It might take you a few tries to nail, but it is possible and makes sense if you don't want to buy one of these mats, though they are pretty cheap and I think they're worth buying. If using a mat, start with the end nearest to you, then fold and tuck over and away. Squeeze semi-tightly with 2 hands, then use 1 hand to pull the top portion of the mat out and continue rolling. After a few squeezy rolls and a touch of practice, you should have something that looks like this. Alright, 1 kimbap down, and now roll up a few more until you use all the ingredients, but also don't worry if you have some left over. Leftover kimbap prep makes for a killer quick fried rice. Kimbap is just about as portable as food gets, you know, whether it's for school lunch, a picnic, or just a snack. If planning to eat later, I wrap the kimbap in some plastic wrap and leave them out at room temperature. If you store the kimbap in the fridge, it makes the rice all hard and gnarly. No bueno, you don't want that. You can either chop the kimbap up, then wrap it, or be blasphemous like me and just wrap it whole and eat it sort of like a burrito. Once all your chubby boys are in order, it's time to brush on some glam. I like to finish the kimbap by brushing them in a bit of toasted sesame oil and topping with toasted sesame seeds. The oil adds a roasty flavor and gives the kimbap sort of that lubed up Hollywood look. After the sesame spray tan, we're ready to slice. And it might be common sense, but it really does help to use a super sharp knife here. I also like to wet my knife slightly, and if I need to, wipe it off as I cut down the roll. I like to eat my kimbap as is, no need for any additions really, but you know, do your thing, eat this however you see fit. This is your kimbap, I don't care. Yeah, so my stepmom loves kimbap, so we had a lot of kimbap in the house growing up. I have memories of like coming home from school and seeing sort of this like plastic wrapped grocery store kimbap sitting on the kitchen table, you know, being like super hungry, snagging it, going into my room and just like gaming and eating kimbap. Good times, simpler times, I miss those days. And I don't really care if you spell it with a K or a G, you know, let's be real, both of those answers are wrong, it's a Korean word, so. And I know there are a few specialty ingredients that I used in this video, so I'm going to be sure to try to find links for you guys and provide those below if you want to cook along and try to make kimbap yourself. But you should be able to find this stuff at a well-stocked Asian market. If you have a Korean market near you, it definitely has all this stuff. And guys, do me a favor, if you have an idea for a video, comment it below. I love to kind of get a feel for what everybody's feeling. If you want a specific recipe or a topic that you want me to cover, you know, shoot me a DM on Instagram or comment below, either one. Though I might not be able to get around to everyone, I'm always open to new ideas that you guys might have, so hit me up. And as usual, thanks a milli for sticking around until the end here. You guys are the best, and I will see y'all's next week.